Alright, hello. Welcome to a little bit different style video, going for the handy cam today. And that's because I kind of want to show off something that I've been working on for about a month now, but was kind of just unsure if I wanted to actually do anything with it as far as like videos are concerned, because A, it's my first time building something like this, but yeah, I think I'm just going to show it off anyway and just kind of walk through how I did it and things I would do in the future to change it. First off, introductions. This person right here, well, this little insect right here, is Ramel. He or she, I'm not actually sure which kind. We tried gendering her twice just by doing research online, and that came up kind of inconclusive because I'm not an entomologist. Yeah, Ramel is a wild-caught mantis that is actually invasive in the region that we are in currently. So the options were to either kill her or let her go, and being as when she's only going to be alive for about a year, I'd rather not keep her out where she could wreak havoc on the local fauna more so than she already has. I'm probably going to use she, her pronouns just because at first we did think she was female, but yeah, whatever. It's an insect, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I worked on this, if it'll focus, kind of bioactive enclosure setup. There we go, that's a little better. And all it is just a simple grass and moss system with some fake vegetation at the top there for decoration. And I really wanted to do bioactive terrarium style things for a while now, but just didn't really have an excuse to do it or gather the resources. And I figure for Ramel's benefit, that might be kind of good, because as a wild-caught mantis, going from in the bush to in a cage is probably very depressing. And if she's only going to be alive for probably less than 6 months, I might as well give her the best life I can. Now, as far as how this terrarium is actually built, it is a, good on the brand there, Exoterra. It's just what we had lying around, reptile enclosure. And yeah, so as you can see at the bottom, we're starting with the base layer. It doesn't have a false bottom, which is something that I really recommend people do for terrarium style setups, but I just didn't have the resources or the time to set up a false bottom. So what I did instead was a paper mache foam brick system to try and get like a terrain going. And then I layered excavator clay on top of that. That's the brown stuff right there. And on top of that was a layer of cocoa fiber dirt and chia seeds along with some wood chips for extra nutrition and stuff like that. There's also some sphagnum moss in there, if I can figure out a good example of it. It's all overgrown right now, but yeah. Nope. Right there, that's a piece of sphagnum moss that I put in there, and that's mainly just for moisture retention. And yeah, so like I said, the green little stalks right there, that is chia seeds that I just bought from the organic section at the grocery store. They're literally just grass seeds. And then this stuff right here is some frog moss that I bought from a pet store. Nothing too fancy, just needed something to break up the chia. And then zooming in right here, I've also scattered a few sunflower and corn seeds in there just because that's something I had. I don't expect those to do very well in a terrarium setup, but they seem to be sprouting a little. As far as hardscape goes, there's some rocks and stuff like that. There's a few sticks and some fake vine that I wrapped in there. That central stick right there is actually a piece of hickory that was actually a payment I did for helping an old woodworker clean out his house and stuff like that. In the very back, there's some corkboard right there, and that's just honestly to separate the background from a glass panel where I can just see straight through it. And over here, this is just, you know, fake vinage, some leaves, mostly stuff for Ramel to climb on and stuff like that. Another piece of wood right there. There's some more rocks in that corner there. You're going to notice some very obvious molding in the middle of the enclosure here. That is something I actually accounted for, and that's something I was actually very worried about, because the way the paper mache thing works, there are very obvious voids inside of, well, just the structure of itself, and those will retain a lot of moisture and very much will mold over. I have springtails in there, but I was unable to acquire them before getting this all set up, so I had to kind of do it a little bit after. So there is a handful of springtails in there. I just put them in there before opening up the camera here, so hopefully they'll be able to do something. I might have to continually add springtails because I only did a handful because the package I had in was only like 15 to 30 of them, so I tried to like establish a colony or so just for later usage, but yeah. We'll see if that actually becomes a problem. As far as what it will do to Ramel, I don't think it'll actually affect her that much, because most of the time she actually just stays up at the top canopy right here and isn't really on the ground that much. However, she is down in this little sandy area because there was a couple crickets that got stuck under there. They tried to hide right underneath that little den right there, but unfortunately Ramel is a very smart creature and she just dropped down and tackled them. And then going up to the canopy, this is actually a two-part canopy because on the top of the Exoterra thing, this is just stock, this is what it came as. This is a metal mesh, and that's actually very bad for insects if you want to keep them in these types of cages, because the little barbs on their hands will actually wear down and be cut off by the metal mesh. So to combat that, I put a little bit of tulle in there, which is just a mesh style fabric that basically she can just climb on and walk around without any fear of actually losing her grip too early in her life. And yeah, it also doubles as a nice little raindrop catcher. That way she can have some water basically whenever. And as far as like monitoring the humidity levels, there's a very obvious humidity gauge right there that is actually like glazed over with moisture, so I can't even read it very well. But yeah, so that's basically what I've been working on as a little side hobby. Just a little enclosure for this little person. Oh, she's a little camera shy, I'm sorry. Yeah, sometimes the infrared like focus thing can actually like mess with insects. It's actually really interesting because it looks like they're reacting to you poking them in the video. But yeah, it's actually just a little laser that scans them and kind of freaks them out because their eyes are on a different wavelength than ours. Anyway, I've rambled enough. Probably at the end of this video, I'm going to post a before and after of when I first put in the stuff and when we got to the point where the chia seeds were starting to grow. But yeah, that's all for now. I hope you have a nice day. Bye-bye. Say goodbye, Ramel. You can't speak English. Alright, so right here, this is a photo of when we first started putting stuff in. Then right here, this is a photo with all of the wooden and rock hardscape. I didn't actually have a photo of the grown version. Anyway, goodbye for real.